Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul, and I gotcha,
Um,
Patrick.
just as I was taking a drink, and I'm Patrick. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Here's That. I was sneaking a drink.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good, my friend.
So tonight, just to kind of let Patrick settle himself, which is
Yeah.
tonight is our monthly news roundup in July. So this is the show where we kind of gather all the news that we've got, or all the news that we've seen over the month of July, and we talk about it, or talk about the ones that we kind of want to talk about, and then at the end we'll give you some upcoming movies, that's going to happen in August, and then we'll say goodnight, and hopefully you'll see us again next Tuesday or next Thursday.
And and you'll click like, share, and subscribe and check out our other videos. We got that one out of the way now too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Paul, I like the monthly news roundup show. It's one of my favorites of the month simply because we get to cover a bunch of different topics. But I particularly liked it this month because there's been so many developments in the ongoing war, strike, discomfort between the producers and the actors and well, sorry, I should say the producers and the writers, but now the producers, the writers, and the actors. So everybody out there had heard of the writer strike, which started last month, and we
Mhm.
covered that a little bit. But since then, the SAG after the Actors Guild have also joined, which I think and okay, everybody out there going, oh, but don't forget to mention that the directors they signed up their deal and they're not part of this already. Yeah, it's a much smaller group, and yes, I know stronger together, etc., etc. But the two biggest groups, the Writers Guild and the Actors Guild, are taking a stand, and a stand personally, Paul, I agree with. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you feel the same
Yeah.
on many fronts. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting a chance to talk about this because we didn't do a whole episode on it, so now's our chance.
Yeah, like it is really interesting to see some of the the kind of stories that are coming out about it. It's great to see that the actors have decided to support their writer, with his brethren, which is in it. But yeah, the interesting side has been how like dick dastardly the studios have been. Like, obviously everybody's heard of that one, which is like, the rumor, or the kind of I guess instantiated kind of, oh, we'll let them, we'll just wait them out until they lose their homes and they don't, like, it'll be a cold Christmas for them and stuff like that. um which is, that's just, it's indicative of essentially the billion-dollar like industry that is the movie industry, in the sense that it's just like, there is, everybody keeps forgetting that there is always two sides to this industry. There's the creative side that we all love and we all see front and center constantly, kind of thing, and the only time that we ever talk about the producers or anything like that is when something goes wrong. And it's
Yeah.
just, and it's usually because producers have stepped in beyond the line of essentially creatives and business, and they've kind of gone, maybe put a giant metal spider into the movie. If you don't know that
I
story,
I endorse that reference.
um but yeah, so like it's interesting to see writers. So it was good to see writers striking because of their livelihoods, essentially not being able to do that whole, like, live on their own wage, kind of thing. And it's great to see the actors jump in there, in the sense that they've also striked, because like, as much as writers, like, the writers are the unsung heroes of the kind of film and TV industry, and it's great to see the actors jump in, because it like, although the writers strike coverage was massive, it absolutely exploded when the actors struck, because like, it happened on the eve of like the premiere of Oppenheimer and Barbie, like, which is just
Yeah.
like, like Cillian Murphy just walking out even before they announced, like, like, I think an hour before they actually announced the strike, kind of thing, and then everybody else following very very quickly once the kind of, they've gotten the note. It's just a great publicity for the strike, kind of thing, in the sense that it's like,
Yeah.
it makes everybody so much more aware about it.
And
um
that's what I also don't understand about some of the behavior in all of this, particularly and obviously from the producers guild side. This is a public relations war. Like, it is all about public perception. Not all, but an awful lot of this is about public perception.
Yeah.
Entertainment industry, it's not show friends. I understand that it's show business. Show business has to remain a business because people have to be paid for what they do. Um, and you have to make money to keep your studio open to have all of the other creatives have things that they can be paid to do. So I understand it's all complex. I'm not eating the rich or anything here. But I don't understand the missteps from the Bob Igers of this world and from the Universal Studios. And like you say, the unsubstantiated rumor that somebody at an executive level had said, "Well, it's all right. We're going to try and hold out against the writers until October, November, when things get cold and rent gets expensive and they start losing their homes and losing their heating." You're like, "Oh my gosh, that's grim and evil." But like, to have Universal Studios allegedly, apparently, cutting down trees or cutting the branches on trees that were giving shade at a time when the entire world is going through some extreme heat wave weather, including where these people were striking. Talking about construction happening on sidewalks near executive car parks where people would be protesting, but because it's a construction zone, they can no longer protest there. Dirty tricks we're talking about here. I can't believe these people aren't better at a PR war. Like, if anybody, the writers and the actors should be the ones outgunned because they don't take care of the PR. The producers are the ones with the marketing muscle, might, and finances behind them. You would think they would get better advice. They just don't, though. They're really not smart.
Yeah, it is weird that it's just essentially they have PR firms that are designed to help them like sculpt messages around these kind of things, and it's just like it just, as you said, the like, as we talked about, the like, we'll just wait them out, they'll lose their homes and stuff. It's just like you're going to the level of like Grinch room, like, stuff where it's just like you're now a caricature of like, the industrial like barren guy who's like sitting there going
it's Christmas Carol. It's
like it
so
is ridiculous. Some extra news on the tree cutting thing, which was interesting. So they cut the trees, the kind of foliage around the tree, so that it would cause no shade. The city of Los Angeles is now fining the studios because it is not because there was no permit set to trim the trees, so it's now also going to cost them money. And the thing is that they've also possibly getting a bigger fine because now this is really nerdy, the type of tree is actually a certain tree that you shouldn't cut in this time, so they may have killed them. So like,
well, bloody hell. Well, I am a fan of trees, so extra screw you to the people behind that decision. But okay, look, this is all getting ugly. Unnecessarily ugly in so many ways. Also, like, to our point, kind of ridiculously, stupidly ugly. Bob Iger was the last person I thought would be stepping on landmines when it comes to all this, because he's the old pro. Like, he is seasoned hand, brought Disney to where they are today, so much so that they tried a different Bob for a while and thought, no, we're going to get original Bob. New Bob is out. We're going back to classic Coke. It's such a mess. But we should probably take a moment to talk about, for anybody out there that doesn't know why, or particularly people out there that hear of anybody striking and go, oh, yeah, because they're lazy. This isn't lazy, folks. Writers and actors, and particularly the actors, are doing a great job of highlighting some of the, how should I put this? I hate using the word dangers of AI, but I'm going to say the dangers of how business will use any new tool, because AI in and of itself isn't the danger. It's the application and use. AI and residuals are the two big ticket topics. So getting paid in a new streaming landscape. So back in the days of yore, you were in a hit TV show. If you participated in it as a writer, as an actor, whatever else it might be, every time somebody showed that. So, the cast of Friends famously became really rich, not just from their paychecks, but from their residuals, because every episode of Friends was replayed so many times.
Yeah, the
so
royalties and stuff, yeah.
That doesn't work that way with streaming. So people are doing things that have huge hit streaming shows and then seeing practically nothing back from it, which is a very difficult way to make a living. Now, I do see that there is nuance to this, that you can't just say, Well, it has to be just like it was on TV, because on streaming it can't be like that, because streamers wouldn't be able to afford to just keep a massive library of material there. They would have to shrink it down to only the things that they can afford to keep,
Yeah.
because something else is just bleeding them, slowly dry. There's a lot of complexity, but the fact that it hasn't been dealt with. How long has streaming been around, Paul? Like, what's like from from a mainstream point of
Yeah,
view?
like
We're into its first decade, really, aren't we?
yeah, like Netflix was probably a little, like around a little bit longer, but yeah, probably the first decades or so.
And it hasn't really been dealt with before now. I think it showed great restraint that people haven't been striking before now. So
Well,
AI may be a new thing, but that is an old thing.
yeah,
So to say that anybody's being unfair, I think there's been patience, and I think that patience has run out.
yeah, like I can see the thing is I can definitely, yeah, as you say, I can understand the system in the sense that they it's a subscription model per month, so they get a certain amount of money each month kind of thing. But with them moving to advertisement, so obviously people know that, like, TV and cable was that you pay for the cable, and also the advertisement was also, the kind of thing that pays all the bills and all the actors for everything and stuff like that. With streaming, it's only been a subscription model. They're now moving to an advertisement model, so I would expect that because of the extra money that they'll be making from advertisements, and because they have a captive audience, that certain agencies would be going back to the streaming service and go, now we have to talk about this whole, like, royalty deal for my client, because you're now getting more money from the advertisement stream as well as, like, your subscription model. So you are basically now a on-demand cable network, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, and I don't, as you said, I don't expect them to be like every time someone watches the show that they get a certain amount of money. It should, like, but it's they have to do something, as you say, because, like, you've got people from, like, John Gunn, which is James Gunn's brother, who's on Gilmore Girls, and he hasn't been paid for any of the Gilmore Girls on Netflix, which is a big kind of TikTok, YouTube kind of thing. But that's just indicative of loads of them. Like, people do say that, and it's sorry, just to say, people go, oh, but if you're making a Netflix or a streaming thing, you get your salary for a TV show tends to be paid more, and you're just like, yes. So, like, if you're Henry Cavill, you were paid $1 million an episode for The Witcher. Yeah, that's a lot more than you might have been paid from, like, a normal network, like a TV show. But the people who haven't, like, Gilmore Girls and Friends and stuff like that, weren't made by the streaming services. They were bought the rights, so the royalties should come with, kind of thing. So just to kind of highlight the differences.
No, you nailed. I was exactly going to head to the argument that. And again, I do see part of the argument. Like, Netflix spends an awful lot of money up front and front loads their cost. People have asked, how did Netflix spend 200 million making that show? What the hell? It's because they are buying people out up front in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
That's part of their financial model. So there is, I'm not going to suggest a solution here, Paul, and I think it would be reckless and cavalier of us to suggest that there are easy solutions. There are solutions. We may not have them right now, and there are definitely complexities. But the idea that there doesn't need to be a more, how should I put it, equitable agreement arrived at for everybody involved, because nobody has to be friends. It can remain show business, but it has to be business for all. And the talk of, breaking up writers' rooms and trying to have mini writer groups and writer strike forces and trying to change the way the business works for pure financial reasons rather than for pure creative reasons, that stunk the room up completely when a lot of the stuff around the first WGA strike come up. But the actor strike, bringing in the AI part, Paul, some of the things that have come up when Fran Drescher did that great speech, and some of the press conferences since then, some of the suggestions that are being seen as reasonable, I personally would feel that they're laughable rather than reasonable. The idea of, owning anybody's likeness in perpetuity, the way extras were being looked at as this sort of digital commodity going forward, I'm disgusted that anybody ever thought that that was an okay thing to even float as a bargaining idea as a starting point. I think it's reprehensible.
Yeah, and they also like with the writers and the AI thing is once again a little bit of a tricky, not a tricky thing. It's a danger to their jobs, because like people like as we say as well is that writers are kind of like the core storytellers of any kind of show, but there's writers in there that come in after a show has been written, hasn't started recording or anything. They come in and they do rewrites, and that's how they start. They like a lot of the like James Gunn, like, not to go back to kind of the Gunn kind of thing. James Gunn started as a rewriter for like a couple of TV shows, for a couple of movies, sorry. Like, it's how writers learn the trades. They become junior writers. They also do like writing on the sides and stuff like that kind of thing. AI, they've said that like, oh yeah, we can get a writer to like write a movie or a TV show and stuff like that and get them to kind of work together, but any rewrites or anything like that we can just get an AI system to do. And you're just like, no, because you are literally stopping new writers then being able to like learn the trade, because like they get direct access to the original writer and get to learn from essentially a big name kind of thing, because they're kind of like, they're if I wrote a movie and I'm like a big shot writer, and you come in to do rewrites and you're kind of like an up and comer, the thing is that you have direct access to me, to kind of get the rewrites all like kind of solid with the original vision, which is great. It means that we interact, you get to learn something from an established well writer and stuff like that. Whereas if you just go, yeah, by the way, we're just going to remove that and just have an AI essentially rewrite, it means that like there's first hand learning for writers that aren't happening.
Yeah, and like you say, on the job experience too.
Yeah.
It's not even just learning from the other writer, just being on set, dealing with showrunners, all of the let's say training and learning aspect of involvement, and invariably that happens at the lower stakes, lower budget end of things. So it's not like people are making their fortune; they're making their future career.
Yeah.
And what happens at the lower budget, lower end of things? What's already been happening over the years? Digital effects, as they get cheaper and easier and faster. Stunt work, pyro people don't make as much money or aren't able to learn their trade as much, and it all starts from the bottom up. My big argument, I guess, and again, there's no easy answer, but the big argument I would have around AI in general for anybody's side of this is anybody thinks that just because we're an entertainment podcast and we're talking about this, that it just stops there. There is a definite truth behind, okay, imagine somebody can replace Arnold Schwarzenegger with AI because he's allowed his likeness. That's fine. That's his choice. And yes, AI is great when it comes to digital video recreation now. If they can remove somebody's need for somebody to be there, you can write the lines, you can make the sounds, you can act the way he would act without his involvement at all. And he's somebody that everybody knows. Now imagine when it comes to you sitting out there that nobody knows and whatever your job is, how much time do you think somebody somewhere is going to go, we can replace the person that everybody knows. I wonder how long it'll take them to decide whether or not they can replace the person that nobody knows. Make no mistake, these people they're starting the start of the fight that we're all going to end up in at some stage, no matter what your profession is. And I mean that, no matter what your profession is, from priests to bricklayers, nurses to astronauts, AI is going to have an effect on employment in the future. So I think I'd be happy enough to stand on the picket line with them right now too.
Yeah. Like, kind of like AI is a big, especially for the creative industry. Like, especially for the creative industry, I'll say that it's just like we can't do the one thing that like we can't offset the one thing that like is enjoyable. Yeah, kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Do you want to we'll run to the comments.
Sure.
Just
sounds good.
Evening, people.
First of all, evening, everybody. Yeah. Hello. Hey, everybody.
The use of AI, very smart to figure that out now and not wait for it to get hot of hand. Yeah, like the thing is that like it's always it's better to kind of not be 3 years into people using AI on a general basis than
absolutely. That's a great point actually. Now is the time it has to be dealt with.
Yeah, especially for other creative, like the digital artists and imagery and artists and things have already gone through a big huge hit with that.
That's true.
I'm shocked how Igor has handled this. He usually has more tack. Yeah, as I said, it just seems like it's Grinch kind of
Of all
level
of
of
the
stuff.
people to mess it up, Bob is not the one I would have guessed, but he really did speak when he should have been quiet.
Yeah,
Universal didn't own the trees. Well,
yeah,
look, that's what you were mentioning,
yeah,
which
yeah.
just brilliant when one main act ends up getting somebody fined. And what's the last one?
Well, I would say,
Well, I would say streaming is your main way to consume a watch. Well, okay, only for the last 5 years, but 10 years is the idea. Yeah, and that calls back to when I was saying. So we're in the first decade of streaming, and I think Pop, that's exactly what I meant by that. Yeah, so we're in the streaming age now, and it started more than 10 years ago, but really as a feature of people's cable cutting life,
yeah.
it's been around for a decade, which is an incredibly long time for a lot of these issues not to have been dealt with. When you think about it, it's
Well,
we're behind.
when one party doesn't want to, it's very hard to. That's the worst part of it,
Yeah,
kind of thing. So
it's not show friends, it's not show business, it's show greed, Paul. Show greed. Well, I think I would love to hear anybody's thoughts out there, especially if they think no, these actors and writers should get back to work. If you have a reasoned argument as to why you think that, I always want to hear a view that I don't particularly naturally share right now. Always happy to see the other side of things. So, yeah, let us know in the comments down below where you stand. Are you this side or that side of the picket line?
yeah, are you Grinches or are you no? No, tell us how you feel.
Yeah. So, Paul, can we quickly then, before we leave the striking altogether, can we talk about one of Brian? I believe you're on. You're on with us. You said good evening. One of our good friends' favorite studios, A24, and I think we could do a little bit of an explainer as to who these producers, the Producers Guild that we're talking about, the Motion Picture and Television Producers Association, uh, in another order. I'm terrible with acronyms. But who is being striked against? So who are they at the negotiating table with? Well, they're at all of these actors, the Writers Guild, SAG-AFTRA, are at the table with essentially the producers representative body. And Paul, I don't know if you've got it up on screen.
That's the AMPTP, is it?
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
yep. So hopefully up on screen around now, you'll see all of the different people. Yes, exactly over there, or over there. Sorry, all of the different studios, TV stations, and bodies that these guys represent. It's pretty much, I think it's 350 or more. But you've got your Disneys, you've got your Warner Brothers, you've got your Paramounts, your Universals, channels like CBS, ABC, which are obviously owned by others on this list too. Sony, Netflix, Prime Video, the who's who of what's what that you watch. So that AMPTP, so just think of it as the Motion Picture and Television Producers Association. That's who everybody's in the fight with, except A24. A24 aren't on that list, Paul. And A24 in the last few years have gone from making a little bit of a name for themselves with Oscar nominees like Moonlight to being known for a while primarily as, the new avant-garde horror style movies like X, etc. And then a little movie that I think changed cinema more than we'll realize, Everything Everywhere All at Once. A24 have done a huge amount of great stuff in a very short period of time, as far as a movie studio goes. Their movies are not affected by these strikes because they are not part of the AMPT blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting because why in future would studios want the collective bargaining power if somebody like A24 can survive and not only that, thrive outside of it? Will we start seeing people after all of this basically splitting away? Will that motion picture and television producers organization be as strong as it once was if this drags out? So essentially what I'm saying is, instead of anybody else losing their home or not having heating this Christmas, if this drags on too long, do these guys end up finding that their collective bargaining power is diminished?
Oh, I have so many. We'll have to run
Mhm.
to a thing. I have so I guess I have an interesting comment, but we'll which is come back after the small break, which is
Okay.
to answer that or to get my comment there. Little sneaky problems. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
gotta come back to hear what I say.
All right.
So
We'll see you on the other side.
come back in a couple of minutes, couple of seconds. See you later.
Bye.
You obviously like two people talking about movies, or you wouldn't even be seeing this ad. Well, don't tell anyone. But Hear Us Out isn't the only choice. You should check out our friends over at It Takes Two podcast. It's a podcast where two people take two films with the same plot or premise, watch and discuss them. Films like Gremlins and Critters, or The Truman Show on EdTV. Lisa and Nick don't stop there though. They get creative and compare some unexpected movies. Some that you don't see the connection until you realise that they can be described in the same way. They launch new episodes every second Tuesday, or Monday if you're in New Zealand. Find them on your favourite podcast service, or check the link in our description down below. That's It Takes Two podcast. Tell them Hear Us Out sent you.
Now, hey, welcome back. That was a It Takes Two, which is advertisement. Our friends over at It Takes Two are sound.
Check them out.
Which goes. Yeah. So the your question about will the AMPTP lose some power because of studios like A24? I think not, in the sense that I think the big players like the ones that we were showing on screen, the what goes let me just grab them again.
The Paramounts and Disneys and Sonys and all of those.
I don't think they'll leave because I think they're just such a big part of it, kind of thing. I think A24 is different because it's now becoming a big player within the kind of film industry, but it's showing what you can do focusing on creatives, kind of thing. Is like, what happens when you actually put story and, like, integrity front and center in your kind of ecosystem rather than just making money. So like I think you will find, especially in this coming time, more indie studios will start getting more and more, like, interesting writers and actors to come and play in their house for a bit. Because I know that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have started a studio which is focusing on creators and stuff. We did a story back which we did a couple of months ago about them. That's the kind of studio that you would like. A24 is that kind of studio. It's essentially focusing on the creative side of the whole thing. So I think the AMPTP will not lose its power in the sense of they're the big players. I just think that the rise of the middle indie studio like A24 will happen now, and we're just gonna get more really cool stuff. So like I think that's my kind of like takeaway. I can't see Universal Studio like breaking away from the AMPTP. So
no, not necessarily. But I can see there's 350 plus members right now. If this drags on long enough, I think the big players may stay. But I think you'll find all of a sudden there'll be 200, and the AMPTP will be representing 200 members.
Yes.
Which good enough for them. So sorry to be so militant about this, but I'm quite annoyed and exercised by it. Actually, Paul, sorry, go for it. Do you want one more before we jump to the comments?
No, I have no.
Well, I just want to jump to the comments because I know we're moving on. And during the ad, I had a look at the comments and I saw A24 are just too cool. Yeah. Brian, thought you might be happy about this. Does A24 movie count towards the errors of what's needed for healthcare? I am unsure about the benefits relationship when you're building up your credits and stuff. I don't know, but that's an interesting one that I'm going to look up after we go off air.
I think it does. I think it's a deal with the guild that indie things have that they're, but it's like. I think it's like done in a different calculation rather than the mainstream kind of ones.
I would assume that they're my assumed answer would be yes, but gosh knows when it comes to all that. Oof.
Yeah.
But one thing that caught my eye was Gavin, great comment here. I'm interested to see at what point we'll see the impact of the strike on content. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. There's a film that I was interested in, and that I know, Gavin, you'll be interested in, and Paul, you'll have an interest in. There are a few productions. I feel sorry for all the productions affected, because, any movie put on hold is going to have a tough time re-ramping up. It's going to affect people negatively, but some will be much more negatively affected than others. Like, for example, if you're Brad Pitt and you're making a movie about Formula One,
Yeah.
in a season where they'd already, had planned to go to live sporting events and capture footage and act at those live sporting events, that if this strike goes on, they will not be able to do. And there is no kind of, we'll just rebuild a set and recreate this. There are some movies that will be irrevocably damaged by this, and could end up jeopardizing not only their final quality, but their final release date, or their release date at all. Like, this is the sort of thing that certain movies, this can be their Titanic moment. It's it feels like there's just a small tear in the side of the ship, but what you don't realize is more and more time goes on, the more and more things that they'd plan to do at events that they cannot recreate, it's just taking on water, and it could sink it all before it ever actually gets finished. So yeah, I think we'll see the effect on content in general in the next, basically Q1 of next year, first quarter of next year. But there are some things that long term will never see the light of day because of this, and we won't always know what they were.
Yeah, like the I think that Gavin has already talked about, which was like, to get it out of the way, Dune Part 2, it might be postponed to March 2024, or December 24, just because of the strikes and stuff like that. But you're right. There's just some movies that are just going to be entirely damaged by this which goes strike. The other thing where we'll see content, the content issues and stuff like that, like it's some kind of resource. I've already experienced this. The amount of contracts that have come into European-based studios and animation studios and like content creation kind of centers has increased, and that's because obviously Europe isn't under the same rules as the American Writers Association and Guild and the Actors Guild. So it means that we will see probably. We'll see probably a lot more international based content that's being built to kind of plug the gap for any kind of content. So you might not get your season 2 of like Sandman or part 2 of Dune. I don't know why I just chose 2 sand based things, but anyway. But you might
sand
get
gets everywhere.
Yeah, but you might get another series like Dark, which is that German sci-fi horror kind of series on Netflix. You might see kind of European centers for streaming services and studios kind of explode with creativity and stuff. So it's an exciting time, with a caveat that this is coming from a bad place, that international studios might be getting more recognition and more projects that they they'll jump at. But obviously we want the Writers Guild and the Actors Guild to be able to work off their way, like live comfortably off their wages for their creative endeavors. So it's kind of a double-edged sword kind of thing, where it's like, cool, Ireland is going to boom in the movie industry. It's real sad that people we like writers and stuff like that can't work because the pay that they're getting is so terrible, kind of. So
yeah, and also unfortunately expect a rise in reality TV again.
Yes,
because it was the writer strike 12 years ago, whatever that was now, that really gave an adrenaline shot in the arm to whatever reality TV is really categorized now. I don't know if that's even the modern phrase for it. Unscripted, coerced crap.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound. I shouldn't pick on something that's not my area. Anybody out there that loves reality TV, I'm not picking on you. I'm just showing my own prejudice there, so I apologize. I should never say something's crap just because it's not my thing.
I think
it's really unfair.
I think in Studio 60 they call it illiterate programming, which was it's just like, yeah, that's a real stab at the people who enjoy that kind of stuff. Like, but
which,
no,
hey, look, I reality TV is fine by me, and pretend reality TV is also fine by me. I've watched enough Fast and Loud over the years that I can't be throwing stones anywhere. I love that show.
Hey, I love Forged and Fire and which is Below Deck.
I don't know that one, but I'm assuming it's to do with boats of some sort. Okay.
Moving on. So
yes,
Barbenhimer.
Okay, Paul, can we get it out of the way first? You've seen both. I've seen both.
Yes. Yeah.
Will you do Barbie first on a thumbs up scale?
Yes.
Number of thumbs.
Yeah.
Now Oppenheimer, I'm gonna have to get somebody else to come in and loan me a few hands here.
Oh yeah. I'm good with Boo. I didn't get to do my 10 word review of Oppenheimer, which is it's a great film. Like there's no, I would have liked to I think I would have added a little bit more to it, but this isn't a review, so I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed both.
You know what? If we get a chance to sit down with Christopher Nolan, I look forward to you telling him what he did wrong in this movie.
Yeah, he did 2 things wrong. But anyway, So Oppenheimer and Barbie, the Boppenheimers, which is as I've exchanged call them. They opened. I got to do the double bill. I did Oppenheimer and Barbie, which let me tell you, doing that way is like an acid trip for Barbie. Like I went in there with an absolute it was ridiculous. It was a great film, but let's just say it was a bit of a shell shock.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great experience. I'll say that. So
well, I absolutely feel that we're experiencing a moment. We did a whole episode on this last week. Everybody check it out. It's in our catalog. I think the hype was worthwhile. Whether or not it was justified for some of the reasons that the hype happened, I'm glad it did. It helped movies, it helped cinema, it helped focus a lot of eyeballs on a lot of stuff during a time of a strike as well. So the movies themselves, though, I don't relate to each other. We've all talked about the similarities and, in jest almost, or in, the practical sense of production couples, etc., etc., etc. But there's loads I would change about Barbie. There's probably 1 or 2 things I might change about Oppenheimer too. I just think that getting enough people into the cinema to see these things, and it's not the people who would have gone anyway. I am so glad that more people, whatever percentage that is, have seen Barbie than would have if the Barbenheimer thing hadn't happened. Because I think it's a movie worth seeing. And when it comes to Oppenheimer, doubly so, that I'm really glad that it's put a few more bums in the IMAX seats, which is, it's not always an easy sell for people because it's slightly more expensive, etc., etc. Well worth seeing in IMAX if you can, if it's available in your area. I think it's a win-win. For me, this is all win. Barbie's making all the money, heading towards $500 million probably by the time people watch this episode tomorrow. Anybody who's watching on rerun, it's probably going to be somewhere around the 500 million global. Oppenheimer, far end of the weekend, is going to be about half that, which is huge for the type of movie it is. It's making good money on good original. Okay, not completely original. One based on quite literally a toy. So existing IP in that sense. The other on American Prometheus, the book, which is also starting to sell out quite well from what I'm hearing. So this tide is floating every single ship there is, including ours, Paul. Including ours. Because you know what nobody's talking about? Nobody's talking about how much they're sick of sequels right now, or nothing interesting happens in cinema, or why couldn't I just watch this at home? Because you've got the IMAX aspect, you've got the everybody dressing up in pink and going to Barbie. You've every angle I look at this from, I smile a little on the inside, including the the tiny willied people who are like, oh, I hate women, therefore I must freak out about stuff. Those lunatics. Yeah. Like they make me smile too, but the fact that they pre-freaked out before most of this happened just gave me even more giggles. And I'm sorry for the Schadenfreude there, but anything that makes those people a little bit less comfortable and more uncomfortable, I'm kind of fine with. So as far as Barbenheimer goes, moment in history that I'm glad happened, and I don't see a downside to it yet.
No, I can't. I definitely agree. When I went to the cinema, like the entire day, we started the movie. Oppenheimer was at 12 o'clock in the morning, or 12 p.m., 12 a.m. kind of thing. Like the cinema was just full, like midday to like 9 o'clock is when we watched Barbie. It was literally just it was just jam packed for the entire day, and I haven't seen a cinema event like that like in years. So like even before the Darkest Timeline stuff, like so I'm just thrilled for cinema in the sense that I'm just like, just go see the movies, like they're both great. They're both definitely different topics, kind of points of views, but as I said, the kind of structural around them is very similar. But the whole controversy stuff that's coming up about Barbie and stuff like that, being anti-man and stuff like that. I'm a man. I was just like, this is brilliant. Like, it was a, like, I've never been told something I've known for years, like, right in my face, and just gone, oh shit, yeah, that sucks, kind of thing for women. So
I'm sure you'll know which part, and there's no spoiler about to happen for anybody. You don't need to switch off. But there is a section of the movie that quite literally is having a go directly at certain types of men and some stereotypes of men. And Paul, you'll know that Simu Liu got to say something that you've pretty much heard me say in public to somebody else. It's to do with the automotive world. And straight after it, something else happens in the, there's a comment about something in technology. And I'm like, brilliant. I felt so included that they had a pop at a stereotype that I'm part of sometime. Like, and I'm sometimes part of that stereotype, not in the negative way, but I know the people that they're having a go at. I'm very capable of being those people, but I'm not doing it, at least I hope, never in a demeaning mansplaining way. It's more like, oh, I'm really into, the original Porsche 965, whatever it might be. But I didn't, rather than feel attacked, I felt included. And I'm like, yes. I came out of the cinema and, first thing, it was like, what did you think? I was like, it was brilliant. They had a go at me too. Oh, deadly. I felt so good about it. I was seen, Paul. I was seen.
Yeah.
And even though it could be misconstrued as negative, I think it's all just observation. And it was all done with a light enough touch. Don't get me wrong, some was very on the nose, but it kind of has to be to do what it was doing. And it's massively bright pink and Barbie. So a lot of things in it are on the nose. Similarly with Oppenheimer, people walking around going, and again, not spoiling the movie, talking about there's not enough action and why aren't there more bombs in a movie about bombs? It's a movie about Oppenheimer. Yay.
Yeah.
Check the title out, yeah, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Fun times.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Yeah, Barbie is a lot more inclusive than people have said isn't. And Oppenheimer, yeah, I think people were just like, this is about the bomb, and it's like, no, it's about the man who organized the creation of the bomb, kind of thing. That's what a lot of people kind of forget. Both movies great, both epically intertwined in the cinema history forever. You will now constantly be told, oh, we should watch Barbie and Oppenheimer at the same time. We should switch it up. We should watch eventually the extended version, the not extended version, the director's cut, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be another Lord of the Rings marathon kind of experience, though. Yeah. So, what do you have to say?
Honestly, Paul, not for me though. I don't know. Me and you, I think we'll refer to this an awful lot, and we'll talk about it academically an awful lot. But having watched both movies, I'm like, yes, this is part of a cultural moment. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing both movies again separately, and I will never see a need to actually watch them within even a day of each other again. I just won't. And I certainly will never do it in the order that you did, because I got Barbie, then Oppenheimer. I am actually going to make sure that you're okay off air. I'm going to ask you a few control questions to see that you're still in there and that you're okay.
It's such an acid trip. Okay, so moving on, we'll move on to what should we move on to actually?
Paul, can we throw a little mention into, on the eve of what we're talking about as a massive cinema cultural happening, etc., etc. The Marvels trailer, I wouldn't say dropped, I'd say fell out. It plopped onto the floor at the weirdest timing. They moved them. People are talking about moving June 2 because people might the movie's made, but there mightn't be able to be promotion, or it mightn't get to do pickup shots or whatever. The Marvels had already been moved. The Marvels release date has already been moved.
Yeah.
Why they didn't move the trailer date? Because they threw the trailer for this out at a time when nobody, and I mean nobody, had any interest in checking out a trailer for the Marvels. If anything, the only people that did were the people who were already frothing at the mouth that Barbie had put too much pink and pointed fingers at men. And they're already pretty pissed off at Brie Larson, in case anybody hasn't noticed. And yeah, let's also be honest about that. The reason that most of the people that really hate Captain Marvel don't hate it because of what its woke message was or any of that. It's because she went out and said some things that really annoyed a lot of people before the movie even released. So she's a bit of a lightning rod as it is.
Yeah.
But why they didn't hold off this trailer until at least a little bit of the Barbenhimer had died down? Like right into the maelstrom. They farted this into a hurricane. Most people didn't even notice it happened. Personally, the trailer doesn't make me too excited. I'm a little bit sad because I really like Captain Marvel, as you know.
Yeah.
I think Iman Vellani from Miss Marvel, I think she is a revelation when you watch Miss Marvel. So the idea of her getting a big screen chance, I am there for it. Secret Invasion not being very good, and this trailer not exactly being inspiring, gives me fear that we might be in for a bit of a bad movie. But I don't think Disney are behind it. I really don't think there's any effort being made here. I think this one's being sent out to die.
Yeah, like it feels like it's canon fodder, in the sense that it's just this is the most opportune time to throw it out, because that it already has essentially, or because there's so much events in the world that's gonna like take us away from actual viewing it properly.
Yeah.
You know, one eye is going to be on, like, you know, current events and this, you know, like our attention's going to be split. So I think that this is getting what Ant-Man has always gotten.
Yes,
you know,
you've made this Ant-Man point before, and I thoroughly agree with you. And I believe that Ant-Man has been the palate cleansing, wipe your bum moment that they keep kind of throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, it's the ginger part of the sushi meal, like always there to clean your palate. You don't really want it there. You can ask questions about it, but you don't really care, kind of thing. But it's necessary to be there. So I feel like the Marvels is getting this kind of thing. I think especially with the fact that we've had like a few duds in this phase, that they're just like, get it out there, like no one's really paying attention to it, just get it out there so we can get it done, and then we can move on hopefully with some of the IPs that everybody really enjoys already, kind of thing. So I do agree there that it's definitely been marched out to the slaughter, kind of thing.
I think there's a graphic we'll be making before the end of the year with like a little graveyard with, you know, the Marvels, Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2, just a few things that are being thrown into the wood chipper. Yeah, the Flash. Particularly the second half of this year. I think there's a lot of cannon fodder, a lot of sacrificial meat being thrown into the grinder. I'm very sad about that, but I can't lie and say that I watched the trailer and thought that looks like it's going to be really good. I'm really hopeful it still will be, as long as Iman Vellani comes out the other side of this, and gets to show what she can do. And personally, I'd like Brie Larson to stick around as Captain Marvel too.
Yeah, I agree there.
But yeah, so there's my small mention. Anybody who hasn't seen the trailer, go watch it.
Yeah,
make up your own mind.
Yeah, so Marvel trailer. We're going to go quickly through some of the trailers, because we had the new Blue Beetle trailer, which, since we were talking about it, I like the look of it. I'm hoping that I
still
can,
don't.
I hope that I can convince you eventually, but I also can be wrong. We got the new Willy Wonka trailer as well, which I honestly don't care. Like,
and I didn't hate, which was step number one for me. I didn't hate it. So I'm now ready to, you know, I can go from I don't hate you to maybe I like you. I don't know.
I don't hate it. I just don't. Who asked for it? Like,
I hear you. I don't have an answer for that, honestly.
Like,
don't have an answer.
Is it literally just like, let's just get more of like this kid on like screen because everybody seems to like love him?
Yeah.
kind of thing. So anyway,
I know somebody who doesn't.
yeah, me.
I'm looking at him.
Yeah, not my Paul. The Creator also came out, which I am very looking forward to.
Yeah, this I think is on both our radar.
Yeah, which I'm really looking forward to, which should be really cool. If no one, so those four, because the Marvel Blue Beetle, which is Willy Wonka, and the Creator, all came out. Their trailers all came out. A special mention again, because I am going to just constantly mention it, because they just keep adding more and more kind of stuff to it. Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. I definitely think it's going to be our Star Wars or / Star Trek kind of universe. It just looks gorgeous, I will say this kind of thing.
It does, and that's why I am not getting any hopes up, because I've been hurt before.
Yeah,
This is the one where I'm protecting myself. I am just like, I will not look until you tell me it's safe to look.
I definitely get it. I'm really getting this kind of like Star Wars New Hope kind of vibe to it and stuff like that. So I'm definitely looking for it. I was just banging through some of the imagery kind of there. Which is, and then so and I think the only thing left is our up and coming movies.
Yeah, so hit me. What are we looking forward to talking about next month?
Okay, so obviously we're going to be talking about Gran Turismo, which is it looks great. We may be going a little bit earlier than everybody else,
Yeah, we'll tell you when we can tell you, but that's why I'm excited.
Which is the Meg 2 comes out next month. So these are all movies that come out next month. I'm excited for Meg 2 because it literally is the shark jumping kind of thing. I'm also looking forward to which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie. It just looks fun.
It really did. The trailer did a lot of heavy lifting for me there, because I have zero interest. Then I saw a trailer and I thought, you know what, I'll be watching that on TV. I won't be necessarily cinema hitting for it, but it will definitely get watched, because it looks like it has enough charm to carry itself through for me.
Exactly. Yeah, like it looks good. And then one that actually came out because I watched Oppenheimer, which let me tell you was real weird, that came out of the Oppenheimer one, is Strays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about Strays ages ago, because it got delayed as well.
Yeah.
And I'm still down with seeing Strays. I know I shouldn't, but I stand by what I said like 6 months ago. Will Ferrell and just unbelievable cuteness from dogs. I'm an easy sell.
It seems like everybody, it's going to be trash. It's trash cinema, but it's one of those movies that's just going to be really fun to go watch with a bunch of friends. It's one of those like community kind of like watches where you can either laugh at it how bad it is or laugh at how good it is kind of thing. But like when I watched the trailer, I was just like, I'm definitely going to go watch that, because there's enough kind of stuff in there that I kind of laughed out loud for. So
one of my favorite SNL cast members, Will Forte, is there. MacGruber himself. So
yeah,
like you're saying, I'm not saying this is going to be great for everybody, but I think it'll be great for me.
Yeah. Exactly. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, just before we end, we're going to jump over to the comments. We'll finish off with the comments, and then we'll head off. So, which is, let's go up to 24. Interesting to see. So, Dune 2's been expected a lot of Netflix stand-up comedy specials. Yeah, they've already plugged a lot of those kind of things, especially with the Just for Laughs and also the Fringe Festival in August in Scotland. I can see a lot of kind of people getting stand-up specials. You might see more back catalogue being pulled out. Yeah, I still think that it'll be international stuff. Yellowstone is going to broadcast and just staying on cable and streaming. Yeah. Did you see
Oppenheimer and IMAX? I did. Did you get IMAX for Oppenheimer?
I did, yeah. So
good stuff.
I'm definitely going to go see it again.
People
who never mention movies to me were asking about Barbenhimer weekend. Yeah, that shows how popular it was.
There you go. And Pop, you haven't seen them yet. Hopefully you will get to at some point. I understand when work gets in the way of life. We know all about it, Paul.
Yeah.
And Brian says, if a movie wants to have a satirical swipe at me, I'm all for it. More than all for it, it feels nice. It feels nice to finally be targeted. So it's good.
Just glad. Oh, Gavin, why?
Gavin, I love you, brother. I love you. Somebody had to do the bomb joke.
Yeah. Didn't have a great feeling about the Marvels.
Yeah. Hey, let's hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
What hate about Marvels is once again we need more homework. Watch the show. I am great. Getting tired of that for our movies. Yeah, that's the thing.
And that is a good argument, and I understand that there's an awful lot that has to go into seeing everything now, but it's the nature of the massive universe they've created. And yes, the Marvels is clearly made for Brian. Yeah, you're gonna hate it because you haven't seen the other 24. To the previous comment, you've never seen any of the other movies or any of the TV shows, so I wouldn't start with this one.
Yeah. One could go away. Yeah, my things exactly.
Come on, guys.
Talk to me. The new A24 horror is getting a lot of buzz. Yeah, it is. Like 24 is getting a lot of kind of hype there. So, which is.
I look forward to the A24 tattoo that Brian's going to have if they keep making movies that he loves. Cocaine Bear was big dumb fun. That must be in reference to Strays. So yeah, that's a good note to end on because yes, sometimes you just need big dumb fun.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Thankfully, because that's what I'm mostly here for, being big, dumb, and fun.
You are fun. You're big.
Oh, I'm big in all the ways that it counts.
I was going to
settle down there. Don't be at it.
But yeah, so thank you for watching. This is the July movie roundup. Let us know any about the upcoming movies that you're excited about. Any of the trailers. Let us know about how you feel about the strikes, as we said. Any of the things that we've reported. Let us know your thoughts on it. We'd love to read your comments and everything. Don't forget that we have a large back catalogue of monthly news roundups, live shows. Our whole thing is about the entertainment industry opinion and everything. So, and we stream every Thursday at 8 p.m. Irish time. So don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and do all the things. It really helps us out on our socials and everything like that. So thank you very much. And it's great to interact with our audience because we have
best audience in the world ever.
Indeed. So give yourselves a big clap. Thank you for watching. I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.